My mind won't shut the fuck up. It is always telling me how awful I am, how unworthy I am. No. My mind won't shut the fuck up. It is always telling me how awful I am, how fat I am, and how unworthy I am. And I've fucking had enough. The best part is I don't actually have to listen to that mean voice inside my head anymore. But now comes the hard part, cleaning up all of its mess and getting rid of every single fucked up word it has ever spoken to me. This is my therapy, my way of healing, and sharing all I have learned over the last few years. So enjoy my fucked up thoughts. Back in January, I wrote a column for the Shut the Fuck Up column, and now the podcast, called Love a Fucked Up Problem. And in this original column, I shared my disastrous love life with myself and with others because I suck at love. Well, sucked because I have opened myself up to love in all of its wondrous forms. However, if I don't consciously work on it, then I can rebound back into the disconnected and unemotional way of being. That place that I know all too well. A place of familiarity and protection. My emotions, they have never served me well. They were always scattered and erratic. They were intense and overwhelming. But now that I have let go of a lot of those unwanted feelings, there was this energy sitting in my belly that has enough power to block out those good feelings that I had worked so hard to maintain. So what is blocking my love? When I think about feeling love or gratitude or just a general feeling of goodness, I can feel this ball of energy strongly. That energy is not what it once was, but it does prevent me from reaching and holding onto my feelings. But it's not all the time, but it is enough to piss me off. Then the thoughts rush forward to give me their unsolicited opinion as to why I don't deserve love. I don't know how to love, I don't deserve love, I'll never love, and if I'm not careful, I will spiral into the mess of my mind and end up falling back into my hole. Thankfully though, my eyes, my loving self and my heart are open wide enough for me to look into the mess and past the mess for a clearer and more accurate perspective. Once again, I must lovingly question what is going on inside of me so that I can clear it up and then I can clear it out, which is why I'm asking the question, what is blocking my love? And it's not just my love, it's the feeling of gratitude, the feeling of goodness, the feeling of joy, the feeling of fun. I've had them sporadically. I just now deserve to have them full time. And logically and even mentally, I can bring them forth. I'm able to use the words in my mind and the words in my throat to express them verbally. I just struggled to feel them most of the time. In a much earlier article, I talked about feeling dead inside, which is what I felt for most of my life, dead inside. And I ended that article by sharing how I listen to my feelings and that I don't dismiss them anymore. And this practice is truer today than it was at that time. I thought that I would be further along by now and that my feelings would have changed permanently, but without 100% absolute commitment on a daily basis, it's probably going to take longer than expected. Because life gets in the way if we let it. We fall back into the routine of our existence if we are not careful. And this continues to happen to me. Why? Because it's easier to be in that world than it is to be in the world of constant change. I don't always have time to be aggressively mindful of what I'm doing and how I'm thinking and how I'm feeling. And it does become overwhelming sometimes to have to remove old ways and then replace them with new ways. The habits of self and the patterns we have created for ourselves become second nature, whatever they may be. And it's completely fucked up that the negative habits seem to be easier to inhabit than the ones that have us feeling as if we're living a life that is easy. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's not everyone, because we are all wired differently. The lives we live and all that enters them contribute to the ease and the effort. Recently, I listened to the numerology session recording that I did with the most wonderful numerologist about a year and a half ago, because I wanted to refresh my mind as to what was revealed to me in that session. And the numerologist, she didn't know a thing about me, not a thing. She knew my name and my birth date, and that was it. But as we were chatting before the session officially began, I mentioned this unbearable and intense feeling of responsibility that I have felt since I was a little girl. It has transmitted into every part of my life. You know, if I ever wanted to go off the rails a little bit, or I decided to just be a little haphazard with my life, or just, you know, be messy, I couldn't. It would only last for a short while, and then I'd have to rectify my irresponsibility. I just couldn't rest until I did. And not another living soul has ever been informed of that feeling. Maybe in some kind of offhand way, but never to the excessive degree that I have felt it. And the numerologist, she confirmed that my soul has chosen to be the responsible one in this lifetime. It wanted to be the stable one and the sensible one, so that it can take those lessons and use them to grow as a spiritual being. But she also talked about how I must do things the hard way. I have to do everything methodically and slow, step by step. And gosh, do I like to do things the hard way, the methodical way. And until I found this out, I would just previously beat myself up for not being able to be like everybody else and do it with ease and do it the easy way. Why can't I just do it like everyone else? And I'd spend hours yelling at myself for being so stupid and useless. It is one of those things I must remind myself of whenever I find myself questioning what I am doing. And it's not in a nice way if I'm not careful. And one of the quirk of this human being that I am is that I am not great at expressing my emotions. I hold them in and I keep them there. That is me to a T. And welcome discovery, because I believed I was cold-hearted. I was a cold-hearted bitch, just unemotional, I had no care factor. But that's not entirely true. That's the foundation of my emotional dimension. And the years that I've lived on this earth have built a shoddy structure from which I live. My parents, my depression, my anxiety, my food addiction, my hatred for myself, my very negative perspective, and all of the other shit reside within the beaten up and broken down walls of my metaphorical, damaged and deteriorated housing. Their negative energy remains. It lingers in this ball of energy, blocking my love, blocking all of those good feelings I am working really, really hard to maintain. And once I unblock this residual energy, I will immediately reconnect with my love, my gratitude, and the fullness of my heart. When I originally wrote this column, I could feel that ball of energy just right in the center of my being. And this ball of energy it constantly prevented me from feeling all of that good stuff perpetually. But how do I get rid of it? How do I shrink it down to nothing and then have it go poof into thin air, never to return? I have to meet energy with energy. And my healing repertoire is full of techniques designed to clear unwanted energy. But not only that, they strengthen those energies within my body that are positively powered. Our awareness has become interjected with knowledge about the energy in all that we are, all that we see and all that we don't see. Connections are being made to powerful energies flowing through each and every one of us and out into our immediate world. We are believing in the power of intention and the law of attraction. People are using these to get what they want. Yes, I would love to have more money, to be a successful writer, to travel more, and to have a better wardrobe. But ultimately, what I want the most is to feel better all the time. Not just some of the time, and not just when I have to work really, really hard to make it happen. And I can't recall if I've mentioned any of these techniques before, but I use something called the body code. It uses kinesiology and a whole bunch of questions to figure out what energetic flows need to be unblocked and released within the body. Our bodies are naturally capable of healing themselves in many different ways. And of course, we may need medical attention once in a while, or some kind of other professional help, which enhances the healing process when it's required. But our energies, they hold on to our life experiences, every thought and feeling we have, our beliefs, our emotional and mental pain, and everything else that we go through, and everything else that we live. Especially when we don't give ourselves the time and love to process what we have been through. My body is full of unexpressed emotions, unprocessed experiences that cause pain and trauma, and thoughts and feelings that have caused me to hate myself and believe I am unworthy of anything good in this world. All of that stuff continues to swirl around inside of our negative, or inside of our energies, without us consciously knowing that it's really even there, until we begin to take a deeper look into ourselves and notice what is actually there. And energy medicine is one form, and energy medicine in one form or another has really helped me to release my feelings of depression. It's decreased the physical symptoms of my perimenopause. It has cleared out trapped emotions, healed different areas throughout my body. It's removed the flat feeling that I was experiencing every day since removing a lot of that old trapped stuff, and the heavy feeling in the pit of my stomach, and so much more. But the flat and heavy feeling, they were very different. The flat feeling didn't allow for any kind of emotion except the angry one I only ever really allowed myself to feel. And the heavy feeling flowed throughout my entire body, weighed me down physically and mentally. But they are both now gone. See, healing is about removing one layer at a time. I have removed those layers. So now that they're gone, I noticed that there was this ball of energy and what it was doing to me that I really didn't like. It's been there a while. It was there a while, and I did notice it for a while. And then I realized it was the right time to remove it. But will there be more of the same underneath once I removed it? Will there be something else blocking my love? With that, you just don't know for certain. I could only deal with this one particular energy at a time and see what else may be there once that's removed. You know, I wouldn't be totally surprised if there was more, because I have had decades of this shit going on all my life. So those feelings have been just front and center for so long, and I've written about them in so many different various ways to help me feel better, and all of them have worked in one way or another, and they do continue to work. But sometimes there is more that needs to be done to remove those old ways of being. This is the way that I choose. It is quick, it is easy, and it does have a high success rate. But my mind loves to continue to read me the same old boring fucking story as each day passes into the next. But my feelings determine whether I listen intently, or I just tell my mind to shut the fuck up. My feelings are the connection to all I have ever wanted. They help me to either hate my life or love my life. Their intensity can leave me feeling appreciative for all that I have, or they can have me begging for more because all I have is never enough. So hopefully this last bit of energy that needs to be cleared unblocks my love, and it's going to have this wonderful rush of pure and undeniable feelings that I have been desiring for so long. Why haven't I done this for myself instead of just talking about it? Well, that's because I unfortunately like to take my sweet ass time about things. They're in my head, but I just faff around with unimportant tasks because it's a little scary, and sometimes I'm afraid of perhaps what might happen. Feeling that good stuff. And there is also this leftover behavior of not doing what I need to do to help myself to feel good. And I have to be aware of this notion that I don't deserve to feel good, and the inaction on my behalf to keep preventing that from happening. But I will always be guided to any and all manners of healing that will release all that does not serve me. I will listen to my loving voice. I will question all thoughts and feelings for their truth. And my fierce determination will drive me forward as it takes me toward all I deserve. And along the way, whenever my pesky mind pipes up to remind me of my inabilities and my uselessness, I will talk right over it and say, shut the fuck up. All right, your exercise for this week. Your exercise for this week is to question your own love. How much love do you feel for yourself? Is it quite low? How did it become that low? Do you believe you are worthy of increasing your feelings of love for yourself? Why? Why not? Ask yourself all the questions you intuit yourself to ask. Write them down, because your love is important. It is who you are underneath all of the made up bullshit, and who you have been led to believe that you are. Feel your way to your own healing. What can you do to unblock your own love? So, as a PS to all of this information that I have just shared with you, I now want to share with you that I did use the body code to release this ball of energy and what happened with that. So inside of us, there are many energy pathways. You may know them as chakras or meridians. And if these energy flows become blocked or filled with negative energy, then their flow weakens, leaving you to feel weak. So over the last couple of years, as I've mentioned, that I've used various kinds of techniques to encourage my energies to become strong once again. I've used kinesiology, Reiki, energy medicine, the emotion code, the body code, sound healing, as well as the power of my mind and the energy it releases out into my being and into the world around me. some have worked, some haven't. Some have worked just a little bit, some have worked tremendously. But for me, the many energy medicine techniques and the emotion code and the body code have been very, very powerful in helping me to release that stuck negative energy. And 3 or 4 years ago, I began to notice my body was behaving differently in ways I had not experienced before. I was waking up drenched in sweat. I was feeling hot all the time. I experienced insomnia a few times a month, where previously I never really had trouble sleeping, and I had put on quite a bit of weight. And a few months into noticing these fun new body changes, I was subscribed at the time to the Mind Valley platform, and they have lots of wonderful short courses to enhance our personal inner growth. And I noticed this one course called Energy Medicine. And while it sounded fascinating, I favoured other courses over this one. Yet something kept pulling me back and bringing my attention back to this course run by Donna Eden and her husband, David Feinstein. Eventually, I gave in and I allowed myself to go through the course. And after the first lesson, I was absolutely hooked. And this discovery led me to an exhilarating and compelling rabbit hole. I went down this rabbit hole into this whole world of energy medicine. And I read Donna Eden's 2 books, which led me to a routine for those experiencing menopause. And even though I'm not technically in menopause, I just thought, why not? I'll give it a go. After only a day or 2, my symptoms decreased significantly. And a week or so later, my symptoms were all gone. And I did this continuously for about 5 or 6 months, about 4 or 5 times a week. Then I got slack, and I slackened off to just a couple of times a week until eventually there was no times a week. And eventually, slowly but surely, all the symptoms started coming back. And once I realized what was happening, I made the effort every other day to keep doing the routine. And I did it. And I know now that if I stop doing it for a little while, the symptoms do come back. But when I'm doing that routine, I'm good. My symptoms really, they're basically non-existent. And that is the power of working with our energies. When our energies are flowing freely and beautifully, then we too can flow freely and beautifully. And depending on how badly you feel about yourself, this can take a lot of work to get all of those energies flowing freely without that negative energy blocking them. Remember that it took years to get to this certain state, so it's going to take a little while to undo all of that and to unblock all of those negative energies. And I can tell you that that ball of energy that I once felt is no longer there. I'm not bouncing off the walls with love as I maybe expected myself to be, but I think that's just not who I am. I am a quiet feeler of love and all other feelings, but it is there in its enormous magnitude of subtlety. And one of the things that I needed to do while working on that ball of energy was to reconnect my spirit to my body as wholly and completely 100%, as well as do some work to my heart energy. And I feel better. Having that ball of energy blocking my love was enough to keep me tethered to all that I once was, believing I was not allowed to be more than that. Logically, I knew that was rubbish. I just wanted to feel that belief and feel my way back to not only my love, but to every good feeling that I denied myself. Of course, it's a little scary to think that maybe it won't last. What if it doesn't? What if it comes back? What am I going to do then? But for now, it's been a while and it's not there anymore. I'm still uncovering lots and lots of layers. There's always more to uncover and learn and grow from. I reckon you are not the only one with so many fucked up thoughts. So thank you so much for listening. Remember to keep on shouting, shut the fuck up. Until next time.